The two most popular types of consistent characters you will be creating for your projects are usually comic styles or children's book styles. Now, comic styles are harder to create consistent characters for because there's much more realism involved. As you add more and more details, it makes sense that it becomes harder to make each character consistent, right? The children's book style is a lot easier to create because the images are just quite simply simpler. And sometimes when you add a specific style like watercolor or oil pastel or surreal style, it actually simplifies the image and consistency becomes easier. Here's an example of a comic style. One of my clients is creating a comic book, and it is about the adventures of a green elf girl in a fantasy world. Now, taking that as a guide image and creating multiple versions of this, we get these. Now, my client, just for disclaimer, created at least 150 images from the guide image. Let me repeat that. My client, based on the guide image, created over 150 extra images. And these are the ones that came out looking the best. So as a side note, just keep in mind, you do have to create a lot of these images to be able to have a handful of them that you will be satisfied to use in your project. Even with that, you can see not all images look exactly the same. The character does have minor variations. Sometimes her hair is worn differently. Sometimes the mark on her forehead is different. And sometimes she is wearing different wardrobe. And we as storytellers can get away with that. Why? Because a character doesn't always wear the same wardrobe in every photo or look exactly the same, right? It would be boring if that was the case. So it is okay if the photos are not exactly the same. And these were all created from one guide image, the reference image. Now, let's talk about creating letters and logos in Midjourney with a guide image. Remember how AI is not good at all at creating text in the image? Here's a good example of that. Let's say we put in the prompt, an intricate logo with the letter H, 8K, intricate, detailed, ultra-clear photo, hyper-realistic, complex, photorealistic. And we get this image. It's cool and pretty, no doubt, but all of it is more of the letter B than the letter H. Isn't that weird? AI is really smart, but sometimes it just doesn't know its alphabet. Now, what will happen if we help guide the AI with a guide image of an H? Here's our example. We wrote the letter H with the impact font because it looks really bold and clear. And we put this into Midjourney and asked it to create that as the reference image. Using the same prompt as before, this time with a reference photo first, we will get reference image link, an intricate logo with the letter H, 8K, intricate, detailed, ultra-clear photo, hyper-realistic, complex, photorealistic. What do you think? You know how there's a lot of people online complaining that they can't get letters in their images? Well, you can, as long as you keep trying and guide the AI. Then, just for fun, I did an experiment to see if we can get away with using 3 letters without using a guide image. This time, we will use a very long prompt, asking AI to create a really fancy image with texture, lighting, style, and etc. Here's the prompt. Don't freak out, okay? It is simply a large sign that says LOL, and then 8K, intricate, detailed, ultra-clear, photo, hyper-realistic, complex, photorealistic, multi-universe, scattering, glow, shadows, and etc. Guess what we got? The letters are indeed fancy, colorful, detailed, stylish, stunning to look at even. But what the hell happened to LOL? AI decided it's gonna make EOI 80, another 80, and a AO 19? This is super weird. But what if we added a reference image like this with the text clearly spelled out LOL? And with the large prompt that we had before, we will get this. And if we upscaled one of them, it's exactly what we were looking for. And then we can try to fine-tune it and add colors and add details and texture. But that would be how to create text using Midjourney. Here are some important tips when creating consistent characters. 1. Always decide your style before going for consistent characters or scenes in your book. 2. Generate many more images than you need. Many can be cropped or lightly edited to make them perfect. 3. Always upscale all 4 images. Many times, the upscale will fix small errors in the first draft. 4. Always do variations on images you like, and sometimes a lucky one will come through so you can upscale. And 5. Consider using a lesser-known movie star or celebrity as inspiration for a character, or even a mix of 2 or more people. For example, if you are creating a children's book with a child character, if you use Macaulay Culkin, probably everyone is going to recognize him because, hey, he is the Home Alone boy. Who can forget him? But do you know the character Punky Brewster? Probably not, right? Because she was a character in a TV show back in the 80s. Most people would not remember her. So if you create a children's book using her in the prompt, like a young red-headed girl on a swing set, Punky Brewster, watercolor style of Beatrix Potter, you get this character, which is a great start. And here is her crying. And here is her eating ice cream. Notice how the character and its style are pretty consistent. This is why it's important to always decide your style before going after consistent characters or scenes in your book.